Hey guys, welcome back. Another video. Today is a little bit different. First on the video database of what I've created so far. Today we're going to do kind of like a podcast kind of style, and to do that I have to have another person. And Millar, say hi, Millar.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
He was kind enough to come along into this video and have like a discussion kind of back and forth about our subject today. As you can read the title, 151. um, we'll just go from the very beginning of 151 and why I titled this video of taking your bets now with 151, because it's kind of all up in the air. We can kind of turn back the clock and kind of see, okay, with 151, 151 came out in June of 2023, and it came
Right.
out with like a boom. And it's retailed right at like $120. And from there, the prices have gone up and up and up. And recently there was a recent change. But what are, Millar, just getting your input, what are your thoughts or feelings about 151 as the set as a whole, I would say?
I mean, I've been collecting, Pokemon cards since 1999. So I dabble in mostly vintage, but I'm a big modern collector as well. And, I really, really love the artwork, associated with Pokemon 151, especially the Japanese side, just because of the texture and the vibrance of the artworks. So I feel it's a great set. I feel it might be, one of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet to
And
date.
and yeah, we will further talk about that as well. But one thing before we get into all this, who are you, Millar? So going back of how me and Millar got to talking and befriending each other, and how we initially connected, wasn't it through E4 that we first talked, or was it Instagram? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was actually, I was just going through Elite Forum, and then I saw your post on Instagram, and I kind of just reached out and was interested in the types of cards you collect, and I really enjoyed the way you had put those pictures in, and so based on that, I got in touch with you, and that's how we kind of came to be friends. So.
Gotcha. And was it through my collection post, or was it something else?
No, it was mainly through the collection post.
It was
True.
through the collection post. Yeah, you have some wild collection pieces that I've only dream of having. Your your top card, the Kangaskhan. The
My favorite card, it's one of the holy grails that I, finally was able to acquire probably about a year ago. I acquired a trophy Kangaskhan, and that too in a PSA 9 mid condition. So I was really, really grateful and honored to be able to acquire that card. It really it was a tough card to acquire, but I never thought it would be possible, but. I just had to kind of I had the opportunity and was able to purchase it for a good price. So I ended up buying it. And, I've been very happy ever since. And it's probably among the top Grail cards. It's one of the most iconic cards of the hobby. And, it's a trophy card. So, it just adds on to the cherry. So, yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's the Kangaskhan. I mean, I wish I could get that type of card. Obviously, is people's dream card and everything. But at the end of the day, my Grail card is entirely different than yours, and it's not because one's more valuable than the other or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's what you cherish more on your trophy card, the top card that you went all out for, and obviously spent a lot of money on that card.
Right.
It is your the top card, where I just love that about this space, where different collectors are for different scenes, and obviously my top card is more kind of modern than your top card. Because when
Right.
does the Kangaskhan come out?
So I mean, it's an old back trophy card. So it originally, the origins of Pokemon were, back in 1996, 1995. That was when it first came out. So basically, there was the Lizardon Mega Battle and the Comics Mega Battle, and those were the first, World Championships that took place in Japan. So the thing was that this was actually a side event that took place between the parents and children. So it was called a family event, basically. So what they had to do was, there was you had to compete, and the top 8 teams, the child and the parent, they would basically get the top, like the final place would get 2 copies of the Trophy Kangaskhan, and the rest of the people would get 1 copy among each team, basically. So, it's just a card of historical significance, and it's one of the original cards that kind of it had a Pocket Monsters logo, and it was designed by one of the original creators of Pokemon, one of the grandfathers, Mr. Ken Sugimori.
Ken Sugimori, love him. Yeah.
So he was one of the original creators, along with Atsuko Nishida and Mitsuhiro Arita. These were the big 3, who came up with, especially like the renderings of the base set and all the way up through Fossil, Jungle, and especially the initial WotC era sets, basically. So I think it's and it's a beautiful card. The artwork with the Kangaskhan, in the fields, the hollow pattern. It's just a stunning work of art. So I think it's one of Ken Sugimori's best artworks that I've seen.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw, but on the recent Pokemon trading card app or whatever, do you have that on your phone? Like you play Pokemon on it, the card game and everything?
Yeah, I saw that ad too, but it was a nice, yes. It showed, I know, the artwork, like a revised artwork of the Trophy.
a modern take on it. It was pretty wild. They just threw it out of left field, like it's crazy. But the thing about that card, it's there is a print in English. I'm pretty sure the Kangaskhan.
Right.
It's is there or no?
So with this card, actually, what makes it very, rare in that setting is and scarce is, it was immediately retired after that tournament. So, only the winners of that tournament, actually, the family event, were able to receive that card, but it was never actually reprinted.
Okay.
So that's what makes it so rare. So really, it's that's what makes it one of the holy grails. So it's widely considered among the top 3.
Gotcha. I guess I was thinking of another Kangaskhan or whatever. But that card is beautiful. Hull foil in the background. It doesn't have like a flower field in the background as well.
Yep. Exactly, and one of the other things that makes it very unique is along with some of the top tier trophy cards, like you have the Pika trophies and the Super Secret Battle Mewtwo
SSB,
and the Tropical Mega Battle with the Executor. That they all had this Pokeball Pocket Monsters symbol, and that's usually reserved for some of the rarest cards in the hobby. So that's how even the Grand Party is another card that possesses that symbol too. So
I forgot that even has the symbol. That's crazy. Exactly. It's like what is like 6 or 7 cards or something like that have that symbol. It's like very, very few.
Exactly. 5 or 6 cards. Exactly. And actually the Grand Party, that's one of the gateways or entries into the trophy cards. So I think that was one of my favorite cards, the artwork of Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos. That's again a Ken Sugimori artwork.
Yeah.
So again,
beautiful.
His artworks are just some of the best in the hobby. So.
And for those who are watching, maybe want to dip their toes into trophy-esque cards, I mean, that's one of the most, especially at PC9, one of the most attainable cards. The Grand Party at being at like $900 or something for a PSA 9. And it's a beautiful artwork, beautiful holofoil in the background, and it is literally just like you're dipping your toes, you know, in in the pool of the rare exclusive Japanese types of things. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, it's beautiful. Do you have I don't know why it came up in my mind, but do you have a silver Bible? As in,
Oh, yeah, I always wanted one actually. I know the Silver Bible of Pokemon. I know, I listen to a lot of famous, people in the hobby. Especially one of the ones that most people know in the hobby, and he's a great gentleman, Mr. S.M. Pratt. He's that kind of I actually got back into Pokemon because of his videos, and he's very good at talking about the fundamentals of Pokemon, and I think that's what attracted me, especially to the trophy market, is him kind of diving deeper and deeper into cards such as the Tropical Wind or the University Magikarp, the Tamamushi University card. So
yeah.
I think that's how I first delved into the trophy world, and as I got deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, it just I wanted to acquire more and more trophy cards, and my ultimate goal is ultimately one day to have a Illustrator Pikachu. So I'm trying to work towards that. I know it's a very tough and almost unrealistic goal, but maybe in the future, maybe.
Hey, just sell your house. That's all you got to do. Just sell your house. The house that you just bought, just sell it. It's fine. So Millar, you're a deep, knowledgeable person in the hobby. You've been collecting for 10, 15-ish years. A lot more experience than I have, and a lot more deeper value-wise of your collection. But that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, you're, again, very knowledgeable in the area. I'm glad that you could join me today to talking about our subject, which is one of the semi-newest to the Scarlet and Violet era of one of the best set of Scarlet and Violet is 151. And specifically what all sparks this is the recent, something that recently happened, which inform us, Millar, what recently happened with 151?
So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked too because I really enjoy the artwork of 151. I had bought a few cases of 151, but there's announced a reprint just about a week ago. So that's what kind of led to a big there was a lot of emotion that was provoked by the Pokemon community about this. So.
Yeah, the R word, the reprint that so many people just cower in fear over. But as you are more and more into this hobby, you realize that R word is very welcoming. Because if you can't have something as a collectible and be too scarce. Like there was one, I guess this is a very, very far relation, but things that have severe scarcity, such as snap cards, which this is the severity of it, where those cards have been outperformed by a lot of different cards that are less rare than the snap cards. Snap cards, there's 20 copies of each? Yeah. Something crazy? Yeah, and it's because they don't have the amount of supply coming to market to sell, and people are like, oh, that's what it's worth. Okay, that's, you have certain cards that always come to market and they always sell, and people are like, oh, why are these outperforming, the other cards and everything that are rare? It's because they just haven't come to market. So, but again, this is a far different relation, but it's kind of the same with reprints. You have, reprints in general are for, the collectors and players. At the end of the day, these sets are for the 151 especially. They're for the Gen 1 lovers. It's a specialty set of 2023. It was a specialty set of 2023. And it is a combination of all the 1996 1999ers 1999ers. There are love for base set and taking all the original 151 base set, Fossil, Jungle, all the original 151 characters and putting in a modern twist. So it really, just like in 2016 when Evolutions came out, 151 seems just like a breath of fresh air where you get modern twists. You got that kind of in 2016 where there were cards that were different. There was a Charizard EX and he was crazy, and then there's a bunch of other cards that had the modern twist, but this was a full revamp, and it was very welcoming. Everyone was, when it first came out, I'll get to the numbers, but when it first came out, it hit the market hot, and it was in June. It was in the like red hot of Japanese as well, and it only shot up from there. But with that, we'll go straight into the numbers. So this was released on June 16th, 2023. And since now, in June 2023, and the prices at that time, obviously MSRP of any Japanese product is 5,400 yen, or 53.99, or I don't know how they do it, but pretty much 5,400 yen over in Japan. And pretty much we all know that that's not, that's just the suggested price. Once it gets into the actual shop owner's hands or whatever, it's automatically whatever the market is. So at the time, the market, these are all American eBay, not Japanese, but American eBay. I pulled the data of $120. And then fast forward like 4 or 5 months in October 2023, the average selling price was $180. So it jumped from $120, $180. Then in January of this year, 2024, it was at $200. $200, buy it now on eBay and sold prices. And then fast forward to just these past couple weeks, you have seen prices tumble 25% on the American eBay down to approximately 150. There was a little bit less. I saw some go at like 138, 140, but it has kind of rebounded a little bit from the scare, the R word going out, and then Japanese sellers really firing them off, and American sellers as well. So now you see $150. But the thing about this set. I only got this set once, and it was from the set had one reprint that I only know of. Millar, have you heard of another reprint that happened with this set?
No, I haven't. And I think that reprint that happened originally, that one reprint, I think it was a pretty small one. So it was absorbed pretty fast, I think, by the market.
Yeah, so the reprint happened in August of 2023. It was a made to order. So if you I think it went out in August 2023, as in like you can pre-order it. And I myself pre-ordered it, and I know a lot of other people did, made to order, and I was like, okay, cool, this is the beginning of potentially being reprinted or whatever, or being more than enough reprinted. But yes, Millar, you're totally right. It was a drop in the well. I mean, it didn't satisfy demand whatsoever, and that was the only box I ever bought. I saw the prices keep going up. I just couldn't come to terms with spending $200 on a product that potentially had a high probability of getting reprinted. I thought it would got it reprinted a lot earlier than now.
Right.
But yeah, so I was like, oh man, okay, I just missed the boat. Whatever. This was it. If the R word didn't happen, if the reprint didn't happen, this set would have went off just like EV Heroes.
That's what I think, if it hadn't got this news of a reprint, I think, we were already sitting at about 225. It would have gone to 250 to 300, basically. But, now with this R word, with the reprint, basically, prices have dropped. And I'm very curious to see what happens come May, basically, when actually the reprint happens. So.
Yeah, so I guess we can go into the next subject, or the next, what actually happened in last month, March of 2023, what actually happened. There were, again, as months and weeks went by, after, since August, months and months and months, the probability of getting reprinted, a lot of us, Scott, as well as a lot of us collectors, we're like, what's going on? We're getting Obsidian Flame reprints. We're getting, V-Star Universe came out with a reprint, which was over a year later. I think in January or something, it got reprinted something. And no New Wave came out of that. And we're like, where's 151? Where's it all at? We all know that Japanese printers, their machines go burr, but they only have so many machines.
Right.
Japan only is so big. Where in America, we're like, okay, just build some more printing factories in Texas.
Right.
So That's the huge. I mean, that's the huge thing with reprints, where they really have to wait in line, and sometimes it's just missed the boat. Like, where's EV Heroes? I mean, that thing had like had literally one other reprint, and that was it. It's like literally CP3, which is Pokecune. I don't think that even had a reprint. No, it didn't have a reprint because it only has one first edition. But anyway, yes, you're totally right, Millar. If this set did not happen, it would have skyrocketed. I have no doubt, because this is probably one of the best specialty sets in recent time. Like, I can't even think of another specialty set. This is outside of a high class set like V-Star Universe. But I mean, Pokemon was hitting it out of the park in 2023, 2022. Just all these beautiful artworks and what they're doing now. I just can't wait to see what in the future it'll hold. But yeah, so with my story, with what happened last month, like I said, as the months were going by, I was like, okay, it's probably not going to happen. I missed the boat. Probably didn't happen. And then, Millar, did you buy any at that $200 price point, or what was your feelings going further into that?
I mean, the thing was, I think that, I initially bought it when it first came out last year. When it first came out, I pre-ordered a few cases, and I got a really good deal. I got them for about $16.80 for about 12 booster boxes. So, dollar cost averaged about $135 to $140, and I think that was a great pickup at that time. But I knew with products like this, especially Pokemon 151, the demand is so high compared to the supply. It's better to pick it up early if you're going to get it compared to later, because the thing is, the prices, I knew that they would just keep on rising. So by the time I was looking at it again, it was already 200, 225. So at that point, I was a little bit, I still think it's a great, it was a great pickup at that. But the thing was, I really, thought that investing in other areas would be a better opportunity, given that it had grown so fast, in such a short period of time, basically.
Yeah, and doing some research on this, I was going back like 3-4 months on different YouTube videos. That's where I got a lot of the price data. And it was funny. This one YouTuber did like, you literally can't lose money opening 151, and he was buying it at like $200. And some of it was kind of true, where, if it's a Japanese set, Japanese cards, straight out of the pack, it's probably going to get a PSA 10. And you probably, whatever the Master Balls were still selling for crazy amount of money, all that kind of stuff, where it was like, oh wow, yeah, you really couldn't make any, you really couldn't lose any money on that kind of stuff, because it was so sought after and so liquid. But when my in 2023 in March, my bells started going off, because I got a message from my Japanese seller, my Japanese middleman in Japan, about I buy Japanese products from him, sealed product or whatever, and he was very frequently just messaged me like, hey, do you want any more 151? And I noticed that his price went down. And you never see that. I'm like, what's going on? I did. Was there a reprint? And he was like, yes. He had a sad face. So I was like, okay, let's go. Because the price cuts were significant. I found this data as well. February 2023 in Japan, not shipped over here. In Japan, it was selling for 25,000 yen, 300. That's equivalent to $175. And last month, I helped someone, and I bought some because I was speculating as well, whatever. Not last month, but when the prices were going down, it went down to $15,500, which is $107. So it dropped almost 40% in price from the announcement, and that was wild. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I personally thought that a bunch of product literally just came out, and people and all these resellers had them in their store. But the reality was, they just heard this news of this reprint, and they just offloaded whatever they had in their back room, because they were hoarding it, or because they were, stockpiling it to slowly sell off, because it's a money machine pretty much with that type of set. So very quickly, I ran over to E4, and I don't know if you saw that thread. Did you see that thread that I posted about
The reprints, I think I did. I was just scrolling through it, kind of. I might have looked through it, yeah, and I think I was, yes.
I titled it like rumor that 151 was reprinted, something of that sort, and I posted my picture of the guy saying like, oh, I'm asking him like, hey, was it reprinted? He said yes, and I posted a picture of his what he posted on his story, which was selling at 18,000 yen, which was like $140, $130, and that's when I was like, whoa, what's going on? Because he had a ton of product. Japanese sellers, they like to stack it to like the ceiling or whatever. Right, and so, right. So anyway, I posted that to E4 very, very quickly, like literally within 10 minutes of knowing that, like, oh, it was reprinted. I quickly went over there. Not Dizzle, but Gengar something. I forgot his name.
Gengar?
Yeah, Gengar Brigade. Yeah. He tagged. He was the first one to comment on the post, and he tagged Scott. Because, right. Scott's been talking about, you're not in his Patreon, right. But he's been talking about this for literally once 151 came out, he was talking about a reprint. He was like, hey, I'm talking about with my, Japanese middleman or Japanese distributor. He actually has distributing license or whatever in Japan, which is wild. Anyway, he was bugging them, and then it was until, Gengar Brigade pinged him, and he was like, oh, it's here, So it's wild how fast information travels, and within the next, like, 72 hours, it was just a firestorm of all these Japanese middlemen, sellers, whatever, online saying, like, oh, new price 151, just keep going down. I mean, you saw it in real time, just like I said, dropped from 25,300 to 15,500, and literally a 40% drop. So it was very significant, and that's what kind of the benefits of recent times with the availability of information, how fast it travels, because it becomes more of an optimized market. Right. Where, just like the stock market, it's super optimized. Once a news article comes across the desk of someone or whatever, it's put out there, and then stock price goes down. It's getting more and more of that, but it's still not optimized, obviously. But it's nice for the consumer, obviously, because we can get it much cheaper. So at this price point, are you picking up any?
At the price point of how much are you saying, 150?
I can get them from distributor for 15,500 plus, shipping, but it really works out. You're pretty much getting it at $110 each box. Does that tickle your fancy, or what are you doing right now with all this?
So no, I mean, it sounds very, very appealing at 110 per box, because the thing is that in Japan, it's retailing for about, I would say, I think it's 3,850 yen, and that's without the shipping and everything. So it's about $40 US, that you can get it locally in Japan from a Japanese seller. But I don't see that this box is going to drop less than $100, because even though there might be, a large reprint with a large, reprint of it, and there's a large amount on the market, the number of collectors that want this product in their hands is much, much more. So the demand is much more. So the thing is, I still think that I don't see it falling below 100, basically. So I think at 110 it's a pretty good pickup, especially if you haven't purchased a 151 box and you really want one in your hand. But maybe it's better to wait till the reprint actually happens in May. But again, it's a double-edged sword, because the thing is that, right now, a lot of the Japanese sellers might be panic selling kind of in this case. But the thing is that we don't really know what the numbers are that are going to be reprinted. So the thing is, it could all be hearsay, and, it could just suddenly within a couple of days just rise back up to the 200 mark. So because I have a feeling that a lot of people are, especially a lot of American collectors, not just Japanese, but American collectors are looking to pick up this product. So I think they're all kind of trying to build their position. So, it might get snatched up very fast. So it might be a good buy at 110, definitely.
Yeah, and um, it. Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, this product is, like I said, the hottest product of Scarlet and Violet, and it is the best product in Scarlet and Violet, 100%. And nobody's really doubting that this product stinks at all, and it's a home run. Like over longevity, even if it's
Right.
reprinted into the ground like Evolutions, it will do well. Long term. Just like Evolutions now, it's at like $800 a box. I mean, even that was wild and recovered.
And the thing is, one other thing that's going for 151 that I really enjoyed, and I think a lot of the modern collectors, especially the new generation, also is that it's affordable. And the thing is that the artwork is phenomenal. And actually, I've kind of outgrown a little bit of the vintage aspect, like the base set, because you see those static hollows, but with these artworks, especially with the new 151 set, the full arts and the character rares, each card, I think each Pokemon is displayed in a very nice way, and the artists really have done a amazing job of displaying the artwork and the full arts, especially. You have the trainers, that are just beautiful. So it's something that I think it catches the eye for any collector, whether he be vintage or modern, basically.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the artwork is phenomenal, and the recreations as well. Like literally, the base set artworks, even the non-hollows or whatever. The base set, they literally take what the base set is and maybe put a little bit of an angle on it, or they maybe take a picture of behind the Pokemon or whatever. It's super unique and super creative. Where I think this set will do long term, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever years, but.
Exactly.
The next section here is, again, taking your bets, because in the long term, we know it's going to do well. It's 100% going to do well. But like you said about your money being in the most optimal thing, like you don't want to, over a long term, Pokemon's going to do well, but we're all trying to optimize our collection dollars, as Danny Phantom would say. So. With this, there are 3 bets there, and it's kind of like the 3 bears, pretty much. Where about the porridge. So it's all about if Pokemon. There's 3 bets. Pokemon prints scenario A. Pokemon prints too much. Pokemon prints too little, or Pokemon prints just right, prints the just right amount of product. And so we'll go through those scenarios, and that's where your bet kind of lies. Because if we'll go into the first one. So if Pokemon prints too much of this product, they pull in evolutions. They're like, you guys want 151? Here's 151. I don't think there's been a set that was printed into the ground in Japan, because Japan, first of all, is very conservative in their print runs. They don't print like English. English has 500 printing facilities going in 24 hours. I mean, they're printing crap. But with Japan, it's very conservative. They have time limits, whatever. But if they print it like a Shining Charizard EX, I don't think it was printed to the ground. I think there was just no interest in there. So, but if they print a little bit too much, that satisfies demand, but a little bit over, I think in the short term, it will go down. It will, for people who are saying that like, oh, it'll never go to 42, it'll never go to 42, whatever. V-Star Universe, that thing literally went to like $45. And people were saying that was the best set. I mean, 151 hadn't come out yet or whatever. But any set is able to go down. Doesn't matter if it's the best set, worst set, whatever. If everyone only has a certain amount of money that they have disposable wise, and if that is used up, then they can't buy any more. They're not going out and taking a $10,000 loan just because they're holding up the price. So if Pokemon prints too much, I think in the short term, it will crush the price. People will feel bad, but the smart collectors will swoop in while everyone's feeling bad and like, oh, this product's worthless, or I don't like this product anymore, I have too much, whatever. And they'll start accumulating $42, $45, $48, $54, whatever. Just kind of like we talked about yesterday about V-Star Universe. V-Star Universe,
Right.
like, it's I think it's like $55 right now, or a little bit above, but that's just nothing like it was going for in 2022. 2022 it was literally like on American eBay, it was like $130, something like that sort. But because they printed a lot of it, like, it doesn't take away the fundamentals of the set. It doesn't take away at all. Like, it's still fun to collect. It's still, desirable to grade, desirable to do things with the sealed boxes, and the artwork's phenomenal. It doesn't take it away. But the smart collectors will kind of swoop in and start collecting when the prices are pretty much down. So that's if Pokemon prints too much. But over the long term, it will go up over time, but it'll take a little bit longer to go up in time. Yeah. So it's stagnated. So the time horizon is moved to the right. It's stagnated. Right. If Pokemon prints just a crap ton of it. Now, if Pokemon prints too little of it, that will come out real quick. Obviously, just like we saw the prices plummet down because people heard the R word, the reprint word, it will do the same once people hear there's none left. It will shoot straight up if it is printed too little. And you're 100% right, Millar, what you were talking about, where it will rebound easily back up to $200, even a little bit more. And this is American eBay. In Japan, it'll probably rebound up to 25,000 yen. Very, very easily. And from there, the sky's the limit. I mean, look at EV Heroes. EV Heroes is, been out for, 2 years now? A year and a half? 2 years. And it's like $420, $430 on American eBay. Like, what? It's because Japan just printed way too little of that. Exactly. Obviously, this is the second reprint of 151, but you just see the demand. I'd say the demand is higher than it was in EV Heroes, which is the obviously Evolving Skies variant in English. Half of Evolving Skies anyway. The other one's Roaring Sky or whatever. Not Roaring Sky, but I forgot what the other one's. Sky Scream, whatever. But anyway, that's if Pokemon prints too little, and the prices will skyrocket. And the long term is just the sky's the limit with that. Right. But I'll go back. I'll give your what's your thoughts? Do you concur or whatever about Pokemon prints too much? Do you think that'll be? I'm just so used to talking to myself, so I
think you're right. I mean, the thing is, I feel that the Pokemon Company, even in Japan, they know the demand for the Japanese collectors as well. So I feel that I doubt that they're going to overprint it. I have a feeling it's going to be somewhere in between. Basically them printing just enough, basically, because they don't want it also to lose its value too, because then for the investors and the big whales who have invested a lot into this, it would be it'll show kind of a lack of confidence. So I think that they're going to print just enough for it to be absorbed, but there'll be a small window of opportunity, I think, which is going to be probably maybe a couple of months, that the real, true collectors have to pick it up at a very good price, and that's, I think, what we should look at. That's what my prediction is, basically.
Yeah, and I like to be devil's advocate or whatever, but I do agree upon that. What you said as well. But then we'll go into the third scenario, as if just like you kind of talked about, if Pokemon prints it just right. If Pokemon prints it just right, the prices, I think, won't shoot straight back up to $200. I would say your opinion or your view of your bets is pretty much you're thinking Pokemon will print too little because the demand is so much. But if Pokemon prints just right, the prices will settle actually probably at $100 American eBay, maybe $80. Japanese in Japan, and in a sense of what that means, when V-Star Universe came out and everything, and it was like $80 in Japan, it was $100 on American eBay, maybe $120 on American eBay. You're kind of adding $20 to $40 on top of the Japanese sell price. And that's kind of the equivalent, just for people who don't use forwarding services from Japan, or middleman services or whatever. But like I said, if Pokemon prints just right, I think the prices won't go down much, and they will hover. And then once again, probably a few months, your time horizon is a little bit more because it'll still be expensive. People will still complain that it's not, 5,400 yen or $40. And some of those people will be priced out or whatever. But I think it'll be quenched up. It will be eaten up pretty quickly. And then, in a couple months, it will start settling over time, going up, because they had 151s had so much momentum since it just came out. I mean, people are going crazy. Obviously, people saw the crazy prices of it went up $200 and even past, and that will be factored in people's brains of like, oh, at one time it was this price, so it has to go back up to that price. And so if Pokemon prints it just right, you'll have a longer time horizon to place your bets, buy some even at the heightened price of maybe if you're buying from Japan, $80, or if you're buying American eBay, probably $100 something dollars. And then long term, I don't think it will do a little bit calmer than if it was printed too little, but it's still a fantastic trajectory, and it'll perform very, very well.
So this is the thing. So this is what I feel. I mean, if it's overprinted, then I feel that the value, of a booster box, a Japanese 151 booster box, will probably land in the, I would say, maybe 75 to 80. If it's printed to demand, basically that means that there's no excess that's printed. It's printed just at the right amount. Is this
American eBay or is this Japan price?
No, American eBay.
Okay, American eBay, $80 if overprinted.
If $80 if overprinted, $80 to $90 if overprinted, and then if it's underprinted, it's gonna basically shoot back up straight to about 170 to 180 basically. And if it's printed just at the right amount, it will basically stay at about 130 to 140 basically.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty much like neck and neck of our predictions, but obviously at the end of the day, nobody has a crystal ball, and nobody knows what it is. But this is obviously from your trends that you see, that you've seen in the past, and my trends that I've seen in the past. But it's pretty cool and pretty fun just to throw it around of like, oh, I think it'll be this price trajectory, this price trajectory. So that's what I see exactly in what can happen with these three scenarios where people right now, even before, I would say there could be an argument that said that because these resellers in Japan haven't experienced a reprint to this magnitude or reprint kind of adjustment, that they are overreacting. And if they are overreacting when the amount that actually comes to the market doesn't meet to their expectations or whatever, like, oh, wow, this wasn't a lot, or I overreacted, it's going to jump right back up. So a lot of people actually are buying right now. And they are placing a bet that, like, I think these people are overreacting. Just like in the stock market, when any natural disaster goes wrong or whatever, there's always an overcorrection. And then there's a recorrection. Right. Any of that.
No, I mean, so one fact that I feel that everyone could probably maybe use from this is that it won't grow at the same rate as EV Heroes, because the thing is, again, it's going to have a reprint. So this, this R word, basically, it kind of slows down the growth. So, for people who are long-term investors, I still feel that it's a great buy, regardless of the price, because the thing is, in the long term, we look at 5 to 10 years with different anniversaries of Pokemon as it proceeds, it will go up pretty significantly, as most sealed products do, regardless of, how bad a set is or how good a set is. But I just feel that, again, EV Heroes grew at a much faster rate because, again, it didn't have those reprints. So the rate of growth is going to be much slower with Pokemon 151 regardless, I think.
And here's that sparks a thought in my head. We can have a discussion on this to close it all out and wrap it in a bow about the fundamentals. I kind of wrote down what makes a good set, because the question I had here, what makes a good set? Why are we picking specifically with EV Heroes, and why are we picking specifically 151? Like, okay, is the correlation of just short printed? Does that make a good set? What it makes a good set? And what I have here, let me just throw the ball in your court of what Millar, what makes a good set to you that you are willing to like throw down on type of thing?
So, I mean, I would say most importantly, the number of cards in a set that have really great artwork, that's one big fundamental that's needed. Again, I feel that most of the big collectors are into the original 151. So again, the popularity of the Pokemon plays a big role, especially. So the artwork along with the popularity of the Pokemon and something that's, someone, a Pokemon that most of the old collectors, recognize, especially like the base set starters. Those are the ones, because the thing is, majority of the people who are investing in this and who have the serious money, basically the large amount of positions, are those who are already in their, I think in their 25 to 35, in their mid 30s basically, and those are the ones who are they have good stable jobs, and they want to invest in Pokemon because it reminds them of nostalgia basically and their childhood. And I think nostalgia and childhood are basically the biggest deciding factors for the sets that are going to grow the most basically. And this has been the that's why you look at EV Heroes, you look at Evolving Skies, you look at these sets. The reason that they perform well is because, again, they have those original Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 starters that people grew up with, and those are things that they grew up as children with. So that's why I think the popularity of the Pokemon, the original 151, and the artwork, the number of cards in a set that are good in the artwork will also determine significantly the value of the set as a sealed product. So.
Yeah, and I definitely agree upon that. So one question to you I would throw is, what do you think has a better score as a better set, EV Heroes or 151?
So better as a set, I would say it's a tough one, kind of. Yeah, so it's a tough one that, the thing is, I know although EV Heroes was short printed and it really didn't have any, really significant reprint, people, collectors value it, very highly, and especially with the Umbreon, which is one of the top 2 or 3 Pokemon in the hobby. I think that people love. I'm a big fan of Umbreon, and I had that Japanese Umbreon VMAX, the alt art in a PSA 10 that I got at a really good price, but. I still think that 151 overall will do better long term if you look at a 5 or 10 year period, because the thing is, again, it has the original 151 and it's a specialty set really, and it's a anniversary set. So I still think that long term, in the short term, EV Heroes might be up, but in the long term, 151 is going to outperform EV Heroes.
100%, and I agree on that as well. And it's funny because I think earlier you said something of the sort of where EV Heroes was could be a far better set than 151 or whatever, but maybe you just maybe that was like a slip of the tongue or whatever. But yeah, everyone loves the original 151, right. And the characteristics of, I wrote them out right here, of what makes a good set, and this is kind of just off the top of my head, is first, huge thing that Scott harps on, set identity. You have to have a set identity. What the set identity of 151 is? The 151. The original 151 Pokemon. What's the set identity of EV Heroes? Eevees. Crazy. Eevees. And the crazy thing about the EV Heroes is that all of them are like in a town. It's pretty wild. A lot of the arts are like there's a town in the background, or like they're in the town or whatever. And it's funny, the Espeon, the specialty box Espeon that you only can get it in the premium box or whatever, that has like 2 EV Heroes in it. Espeon's like laying on top of a town, laying on top of a building. And so even the Moonbreon, it's within a town. I mean, it's all within this town. And so set identity, where the cohesion throughout the entire set's awesome. And that's, Japan does it so much better than English. English is garbage. But anyway, so set identity, number 1. Number 2, you have to have chase cards. You have to have the chase. And a lot of it. You can't just have, Charizard. Like Obsidian Flame. I gotta have all these Charizards. Like, It
gets boring. Exactly that. And that's why, I mean, see, that's the thing. The identity of the set's the most important factor. Like, Scott has said that the reason why 151 is a great set is because, again, there's already, if you look at the card list, out of the cards, there's already 30 to 40 cards that, are just super, super beautiful. The artwork is great. And there's a lot of illustration rares. You look at the Alakazam or the Zapdos. It's not just the Charizards. But you have everything kind of that overall feel is what I feel is better compared to EV Heroes, because EV Heroes, you have the evolutions. But the thing is, it's tough just with the 5 or 6 evolutions to kind of beat out a set like 151 where you have the 151 basically, and they all have really great artworks. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, you're, yeah. I couldn't agree more. But also another characteristic, I have total 5 characters. So set identity, chase,
right.
Fun factor has to be fun to open. Like right. Your sealed product is not going to do well. It's either one of two things. It's either going to do well because there's a card in there that everyone's trying to get and it's extremely hard to get and it costs a bunch to grade, or it's actually just fun to open. Right. Set identity of like Pokemon, like all the cute little cards. I mean, it's fun to open. Japanese is fun to open because you have your guaranteed chase card in there. You have a guaranteed hyper rare or whatever it's called, where it's going to be there. You're going to get like in Shiny Treasures EX. There's like a guarantee of like at least 2 baby shinies and all this kind of stuff where you have guarantee in the box. So there's fun factor is there and it's consistent. I can't remember how many evolutions boxes that people have opened up. Like, oh crap, I didn't get anything. Like literally not. You can open up a whole 36 packs, you get nothing. So set identity, chase, fun factor, widespread of adoption and acceptance. I would say this in the sense of just like with snap cards. Not in the sense of acceptance of like, oh, yeah, I know this is a Pokemon card, but in the sense of like you got to get in collectors' hands. Like it would kind of be a detriment to 151 if it was short printed. Just like CP3, Pokemon. Not a lot of people know about Pokemon. The people that know about Pokemon, they are there for it 100% because it's rare and whatever. But it only adds to a set if it is actually universally adopted and universally like loved. I would say right. A long-term trajectory, and yeah, that's a huge pillar as well. So, and then the last thing is a multifaceted collector, as in a collectible item, as in with this 151 box, what can you do with it? You can be a sealed collector, you can be a binder collector, or you can be a graded collector. So you have this box, it's not just sitting on the shelf and you can't do anything with it. I remember I had something else in my mind that like, okay, this is, this item it only can do one thing. And I forgot what it is. Maybe it's graded cards, or I guess graded cards, because that's like the end product. A graded card is the end product of opening packs, of trying to grade something, chase that, whatever, and then you have the end product of a graded card, where a sealed product, that's why it does so well over time, because you can do so many things with it. So I say those 5 things: the set identity, chase, fun factor, widespread of adoption and acceptance, and a multifaceted collection. A collectible item is the elements of what makes a good set a good set. And maybe some of that is just like, inherent into, obviously a set's going to have cards that you can grade. Sometimes not. Sometimes they're just garbage cards that come out. I know with, what's the one with the main shiny Charizard? Like the big full art Charizard everyone was blazing, Darkness Ablaze or whatever. Where that set, when it was first printed or reprinted or whatever, the garbage, or the print quality was garbage. But anyway, I would say those 5 things, I kind of balance those 5 things and put each collectible box in my head of like, okay, can I pick this apart? What is this rated out of? For a long time, I wanted to create a system that you can actually rate it in numbers, but I know that stuff changes all the time, and personality, all that kind of stuff. I want to get like pillars that never change type of thing, but it's really hard to do. But Anyway, out of those scenarios, or out of those characteristics, I think, yes, the upper hand is 151. Because you're totally right. I mean, 150 was the original 151 Pokemon. It's a modern twist. It is, it's widespread adopted, or will get widespread adopted as well. More people will have it in hand. Its set identity is literally 151. It has tons of chase cards. I mean, probably every single Pokemon in 151 is a chase card to some person. I would say so.
No, exactly, because even you look at all the other sets, for example, even the common, uncommons and other sets really don't sell, because the thing is, there's not a collector for each of those cards. But if you look at 151, there's a collector for each card, whether it be common, uncommon, rares. Because the thing is that you can see that the majority of the collectors in this hobby and the people who love this hobby, they love those original 151. So there's always a diehard collector for, regardless of whether it's a common or uncommon. Basically, there's always a greater demand, and you can see that those individual cards that are not even the full arts or the the rares, they're being sold in a large quantity too, because to collectors basically.
Yeah, and so that's. I think over long term, whatever, Eevee Hero is going to do great, yes, but there are probably for every one Eevee collector, there's 151 collectors, just over that, get that home. But that's what I feel, and thank you for joining me for this little podcast kind of style, kind of video and everything. But that wraps up my thoughts and feelings on what I wanted to discuss on 151. So now some people can label this channel as like a hype channel of like, oh, they're just hyping up 151. They're just going to dump their heavy bags of 151. Tell you what, literally I bought one box and it's gone. I opened it up with my wife. That's all. So my bias is not there. I mean, I'm biased because it's the 151, because of the stipulations and because of my experience in the past. But right. I'm not dumping anything. Like I'm literally going to buy some more when it comes out in May, and that's, I would think, what I'm going to do as a collector. Because if I miss the boat of 151 and it shoots back up, so be it. I don't want to take that risk of it could go down to $70, $80, and then you could have bought like 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 extra 151 boxes and do even better long term. And so
exactly. No, that's true. I mean, no, because even when I, bought the original 2 cases, that's about 24 boxes, I ended up opening, I had an itch to kind of open it up because, I couldn't keep it sealed. And I know that the sealed cases are worth way more. But the thing is, even at that time, I wanted to open up the box and kind of experience the cards for myself. And I ended up, I opened my first box and ended up pulling the SAR Mew, one where... So the thing is, I
that's
still...
beautiful. Oh, man.
I haven't it or anything. It's just sitting in my, in my collection, basically, and I admire it every day. So the thing is, I feel that what makes a set very important, in terms of a long-term hold and a good sealed investment, is that people should be willing to open it. They should always have that itch to open it. That's the biggest thing, kind of. So
that's why my stuff is in my garage. Or maybe I shouldn't disclose that, but it's a way I don't see it. And it's, I can't touch it. I have so much, majority of my collection, as in volume-wise, of space-wise, is my sealed collection of Japanese booster boxes. So yeah, you're totally right. Where that is a good thing that people have itch to open it, because that as per people holding it, that's like, okay, these boxes are only going to get rarer and rarer and rarer. And so the prices go up and up and up, or whatever. But I'm excited to see what happens in May. I'll be waiting. Are you going to buy any more in the time being?
So I'm going to wait again till May, and then I know that there will be a window period that we have to kind of act on. So, I'm definitely looking to buy more in May, depending on the price. But I think definitely it's a great opportunity for collectors and investors. And, I think that it's better to be patient and wait, maybe, because we're already in, the beginning of April. So we don't have much time to go. So I think for collectors out there, it's better to wait a little bit, wait till the beginning of May, see how the market responds to this, reprint, and then go from there, basically.
it's a very thin balance between patience is a virtue and you gotta buy or buy. As in,
Right.
patience is a virtue, but you buy it right now or you say goodbye. It's a very balancing act. It's crazy because there are certain things that I've been tremendously rewarded with patience as a virtue. Like, I'll give you a scenario, Van Gogh Pikachu or Yokohama Pikachu. I mean, the things I've talked about my channel for a while, and assessing, sit back, okay, I don't want to, whatever. And then there's been times where I've got burned, where I didn't buy it, and it skyrocketed more in value. Or the other scenario of I bought it and then it shot down in price. I was like, I FOMO'd into it. You know, that's usually the scenario. But
I mean,
go for it.
That's the same case with you. You know, you can't have all wins or all losses. I mean, it's a balance. And, you know, I've had the same experience. You know, I was a big fan of the Festa Pikachus, you know, and the thing is, I think one of my big grails that I was able to acquire was the 2016, you know, the Festa Pikachu, the Nagoya promo that was one. And, you know, for the longest time, I could have bought that card a couple of years back for about 4,000, 5,000. And the thing is, I didn't pull the trigger at that time. And that card, I had to win an auction, and I ended up buying it for about 9,000. So the thing is, you know, looking back, you have that, you know, you either can make that guess that you make, it can kind of go either way. So the thing is that I'm very happy that I acquired that card and it's in my collection. But the thing is, I think I waited a little bit too late to buy it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's only gone up because the last sale of that card was $11,000 just recently on the PWCC auction. So, you know, I'm glad that I bought it for 9,000. So that's the thing.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing about being in Pokemon and collectibles or whatever, time is on your side. It's
right.
But with it, okay, how long will this take to, you know, if you bought something, let's say, you know, a couple years ago, someone bought the Master Scroll PSA 10 for $50,000. That Master Scroll has not gone back up to 50. It's probably at like $20,000. But if that at the time, I think it was during 2020, at the time, if the person spent that $50,000 on a Kangaskhan, you know, a PSA 9 or PSA 10, I mean, they'd be sitting pretty right now. But because they didn't, they bought some other thing. It's all about the present value of money with that. And that could be a whole nother discussion as well on, you know, okay, because nobody knows, you're totally right. I mean, nobody has a perfect batting average. Nobody has a perfect score sheet. Where we all can't make the correct decisions at the correct time. I remember one of my faults or one of my big, like, oh man, you know, I lost a lot of money on or whatever, was Chinese cards. I thought they were gonna, especially the trophy and the I guess this kind of went on, the waifu stuff, the lily boxes or whatever. I didn't realize how much of that was speculation and how much of that was just to put money down just to get more money type of thing. I thought there was genuine interest. And so because of that, I have a lot of money tied up in some product that I'm just not selling. I'm just keeping to the side until eventually it goes back up, and then I can sell it for at cost or a little bit above. So, yeah, again, that could be a whole nother discussion. But again, Millar, thank you so much for joining me on this little podcast-esque type of thing. It's very MacGyver right here with my microphone and my light and my camera right behind my computer camera. That's why if you've seen me dart down, I'm looking at Millar, and then I'm looking at the camera. So thank you for joining with me. Do you have any more thoughts or feelings about 151, what you'll be doing?
So I'm very bullish on it, you know, both short term and long term, and I think it's a great set. I think it's the best set so far we've seen of Scarlet and Violet, and you know, I'm saying that, and the sets of Scarlet and Violet have been pretty good. You know, the artworks are nice, but I still feel that it's undervalued, and I think that for anyone who really wants to get into it, you know, they should get into it now. Basically, with these reprints coming, you know, I definitely will be buying more of it. But I'm very bullish on this product. So,
and Millar, you're very, very bullish on it. I'm semi to modern bullish on it as well. Maybe, yeah, I think Pokemon maybe will print it a little bit more, and then interest will go down. I'm hoping anyway, so I can pick up more. But yeah, overall, this is just a bull right here.
I mean, it's a win-win, I think, for regardless of if you buy it now or in May. So I still think that, you know, especially if you tend to keep it sealed, you're going to see those gains definitely, regardless, you know. That's
100%. And so, again, Millard, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys later.
Bruh. I just don't give a, get ready for it, fuck. I give 0 fucks